Okay, guys. So today we will do some revision of the volitional form, a quick look at the adjectives again, and then the new subject for today will be the plain negative form, and I will explain later why we are studying this. Hey, Ellie.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa. Okay, so let's have a look at what we did in previous weeks. Okay, so hopefully you guys can still remember things like how to make the imperative, which will allow us to ask requests. So we can say, kaite kudasai, please write, matte kudasai, please wait. And we hopefully remember that for group 1 verbs, which are the most difficult ones, we have these 4 different ways of turning the verb into the imperative. Okay. And then for E adjectives, we can just say something is hot or cold. But if we are going to make the negative, then we do not say it is not. We say it is uncold, a bit like saying it is uncool. So we change the adjective itself. So for example, atsui would become atsukunai, to say it is not hot. And then to make it into the past tense as well, if we use samui to say cold, if we want to say it was cold yesterday, we would say kino samukatta desu. Kino samukatta desu. And then finally, if we want to say negative and past, then we change the adjective. So hayai for fast or early. If we want to say it was not fast, it was not fast, we would say hayaku nakatta desu. Okay, so the it is at the end doesn't change. It still remains it is. And then if we want to make adverbs, we replace the little e with ku to make an adverb, like hayaku unten shimashita. I drove quickly. Hayaku unten shimashita. And then we can explain how something changes by using the adverb form, ku, and putting narimasu as the verb at the end of the sentence. So if I want to say, let's see, today the weather has become cold, I would say kyou no tenki, the weather of today, kyou no tenki ga samuku narimashita. So it has become cold, samuku narimashita. Okay, and then the other thing we did last week was to make the 2 forms of the volitional. So by taking the mas form of any verb, it doesn't matter if it's group 1, 2, or 3, we remove the mas and we put tai on the end. And then this is now making a new e adjective. So we have to put des at the end to say, for example, I am wanting to go to London. I would say London ni ikitai desu, or I want to eat sushi. Sushi o tabetai desu. If I want to turn this e adjective into the past, though, again, this is an adjective. So I have to say ikitakatta desu. I wanted to go. Or if I want to say I wanted to wear a new iaidogi, I wanted to wear a new iaidogi, atarashii iaidogi o kitakatta desu. Kitakatta desu. So I'm just using the same conjugation of the verb of the adjective as I did in the normal e adjectives. Sorry, give me a second, guys. I think somebody just messaged me just to see who it is. Okay, Robert's not coming. Okay. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, and then the last thing we did last week was just put present on. Hi, Tetsi.
Oi, sukatteko mennä sai?
The last thing we did last week was to say, let's do. So we can say, ikimashou, tabemashou. There is a way of making the negative of this, but we won't do it yet because it's kind of casual Japanese. But if we want to encourage somebody to do something, party ni ikimashou, party ni ikimashou, let's go to a party, or you can make a question, party ni ikimashou ka? And it's the same conjugation for all of the verbs. We simply take the mas and we put mashou on at the end. Okay.
There was one thing that what you didn't maybe tell this in this group, using kute. Oishi kute tanoshii desu.
This is far in the future, Yeri.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah. Okay, Harry, go ahead.
Sorry, because I had to skip out where it says you have to put des on the end.
Yeah, so
repeat that.
Sure. So if you want to say, I want to do something, or he wants to do something, or they want to do something, then we are describing them as an adjective. So for example, if I say, I want to go home now, so this would be kaeritai, then what you don't use this as a verb. This isn't a verb sentence. This is a statement about me. It's saying I am wanting to go home. So we would turn kaeru, to return, into kaeritai, wanting to return home, and then we would say des, so I am wanting to return home. And again, because tai is an e adjective, if you say I don't want to go home, then you don't change the des into dewa arimasen, you change the adjective into a negative. So you would say kaeritakunai desu.
Thank
you. Okay, we're going to do some exercises on this, guys, to warm up. But do you have any questions? Good. Okay, let us do some questions then. Right, give me a second. Sorry, I spend most of the Japanese lesson resizing my windows and moving them around my screen than actually do anything Japanese. Right. So what I would like you to do, I'll give you a verb in the infinitive, in the plain form, and I would like you to first say, I want to do something. I want to do this verb. I want to do this verb. And then change it into let's do this verb. So I'll give you an example. The first one I have is ao, which means to meet. Ao, ao. So to make the I want to meet, I would say aitai desu. Yes, exactly. Aitai desu. And then if I want to say let's meet, I would say aimashou. Aimashou. Okay. But as usual, guys, I'd like all of you to try every single problem. So if you leave yourself muted and just say out loud what the answer is, and hopefully you get it right, but you'll hear pretty soon afterwards if you have it right or not. Okay, so let me start with tuche, and the verb is to wash, like to wash your hands, and this is arau, arau.
Aratai?
So this would become araitai, araitai.
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 Yeah, and then you have to put des at the end.
What was the hint? Te.
Te, exactly. So if you want to say, I want to wash my hands, then you would say
手を洗いたいです。
Perfect. Good. Harry, you have a question?
手を洗いましょう。
Araimashou.
洗いましょう。
Yeah, exactly. Harry, go ahead.
Could you
You're
spell
muted.
arao?
Yeah, sure. It's ARAU. In fact, why don't I put this on the screen here? Yeah, give me a second. Sorry, give me a second, guys. I should put the revision sheet up. Where is it? There. Can you see that now?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Let's see. Ramo, I'd like you. So this verb here is you, which means to say. To say. But this is a group one verb. So you, this little U sound becomes what?
This is a question.
Sorry, yeah, it's a question. Sorry.
I think it should be yuitai.
No, not. So let me just quickly skip back to. Sorry, guys, I want you to learn how to do group one verbs more than anything else because these are difficult ones. Let me just find the. Okay. Just a moment. Where was it? Oh, here we go. So let's just share this screen. Present. Can you
Itai?
Itai this? Yeah, good.
Itai, okay.
Yeah.
Because
So
the mass form is iimasu.
exactly. Yes.
So itai desu.
Good.
Iimashou.
Iimashou. Yes. Excellent. Let me put that screen back up again. Good. Gilles, how about this is a relatively easy one. Iku, to go.
So it's ikitai desu.
Good.
And ikimashou.
Ikimashou. Good. Yes. So how would you say let's go to Spain?
To Spain.
Yeah.
Spain ni ikimashou.
Exactly. Spain ni ikimashou. Good. Sophie, kiku. This means to listen or to ask. You're muted. Still muted? I'm going to give you a mute foot pedal for Christmas next year. Hang on, let me try clicking on asking you to. Oh, there we go. That's it. That's
I had to use a mouse. Okay, kiku, kikimas. So it's kikitai.
Good.
Kikitai desu.
Kikitai desu. Yeah.
Kikimashou.
Kikimashou. And how would you say, I want to listen to music?
Music is ongaku, I think.
Ongaku, good.
So, I want kikitai. Kikitai, what? Article? No. Kikitai. Ongaku.
Okay, so you've got the two words, kikitai and ongaku, but they have to be in the right order. So what would happen first?
So ongaku ga kikitai desu.
So with the kiku, this is what's called a transitive verb. It means you're doing something. Exactly.
Okay, so it's
yeah.
Okay. Ongaku o kikitai desu.
Very good. Yes, exactly. Good. Beatrice, how about miru? This means to see, and it's a group two verb.
Mitai desu.
Good.
Mimashou.
Good. Okay. So how would you say this evening, let's watch television because we can't leave the house anyway. This evening, let's watch television.
So it would be evening. What is that in Japanese?
So this evening would be konya. Konya.
Konya televi o mimashou.
Perfect. Konya telebi o mimashou. Excellent. John, this next one, tatsu means to stand. To stand.
So, tachitai desu.
Tachitai desu. Good.
Tashimashou.
So not she, but tachi.
Tachi.
Yeah.
Tachimashou.
Yes, exactly. So how would you say, let's stand up now?
今、立ちましょう。
Good.
Is that okay?
Yep, perfect. Ima tachimashou. Good. Harry, hanasu means to talk rather than speak. So you means to speak or say something, to say. Hanasu means to talk, to have a conversation. So how would you say, I would like to speak? I would like to talk, rather.
Hanashitai desu.
Good. And let's talk.
Hanashimashou.
Good. And then how would you say, I don't want to speak? I don't want to talk.
Hanashi takunai desu.
Perfect. Yes, good. Hanashi takunai desu. Good. Nathan, this is kayasu, which means to give something back to somebody or to change something. Kayasu. So if you'd like to do the tai and the shore, mashou.
Kaishitai. Kaishimashou.
Yes, good. So kaishitai desu.
Desu.
Yeah, good. And then how would you say, I wanted to give it back. I wanted to give it back.
Kaishi takata.
Good. And then
Desu.
Desu, exactly. Yes, good. Kaishi takatta desu. Kaishi takatta desu. Is everybody clear what Nathan just did? Does everybody understand? Excellent. Good. Okay. Ali, asobu. So this means to play, but not like play tennis or play football, because we usually use suru. You say soccer or suru or tennis or suru. This means kind of let's socialize, let's hang out. So how would you? So if you want to make the transformations first.
Asobitai desu.
Good. Asobitai desu, and then let's hang out.
Asobimashou.
Asobimashou. And how would you say, I did not want to socialize. I did not want to socialize.
Asobitakunakatta desu.
Perfect. Good. Asobitakunakatta desu. Good. Excellent. Well done. Okay. Roberto. Nomu. This means to drink. Very important for Italian people. Huh?
Nomitai.
Nomitai.
Yes.
Good. Yep. And?
Nomimashoka.
Okay. Perché no?
Well, all right then.
And Robert, how would you say, I wanted, in the past, I wanted to drink beer. I wanted to drink beer.
I want.
Like yesterday, I wanted to drink beer.
Kino. Vivo.
Good.
Nomimasenka.
No. Let me just.
Nomimakata.
Exactly. Yes. Nomitakatta.
Non mi makata desta.
Des, just des.
Ah, des.
Nomitakata des. Yes, good. Okay, good. Yari, yomu. This obviously you know this one. This means to read.
Yomitai.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Yomimashou.
Yomimashou. And how would you say next week? Let's read War and Peace.
Raisu, War and Peace. Oh, Yomi. We are going to read. Okay.
Yeah.
Yomimashou.
Yomimashou. Good. Exactly. Good. Tatsi. We've done kairu already, so let's do another one. Let's use skuru. This means to make. To make. Tsukuru.
Skuritai?
Skuritai?
Skurimashou.
Skurimashou. And how would you say I wanted, no. I did not want to make a cake. I did not want to make a cake.
ケーキを作りたくなかったです。
One more time, please.
作りたくなかった。
作りたくなかったです. Yes, good. Exactly. Let's just quickly put this up on the screen a second. So let's just examine this because this sukuru, just so everybody really sees this. Sukuri tai. Sukuri ta kunai. And then sukuri ta kunakatta desu. You have to take a long breath before trying this sentence. Sukuri ta kunakatta desu. Good, excellent. Good, guys, well done. Any questions? Doesn't seem to be too problematic. Let me just...
the negative of mashou, I didn't hear about it.
So we haven't done it yet because it takes us into casual Japanese, which I don't want to cover for weeks, actually.
Right.
This will be something we do later. Even the advanced group at the moment are still working on the polite level of Japanese because there's so much other grammar to use. But I mean, generally, when you say let's not do this, it comes across as quite a strong command. It's like it's really like saying don't do it rather than saying let's not do it. So this is why there's other ways of saying we will not do this or let's not do this than using the volitional.
Right.
Okay, good. Any other questions, guys?
Are you going through those commands also, those row forms later?
Yeah, but once the advanced group have mastered Fermat's last theorem, then we'll definitely go through it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, to be honest, I think that I expect that the primary reason why a lot of you are learning Japanese is so that you can converse with Japanese teachers, I suspect. And in this case, learning the rough base way of speaking Japanese will not serve you any use at all. In fact, it's better to not know it so that you don't accidentally say it. Okay, let's go on to today's stuff.
But sometimes it's nice if you can give a commands in Japanese because, for example, I have a two Japanese guy who is not very good speaking Finnish or English in a practice. So sometimes I have to speak Japanese.
But in a
with
dojo,
my skills.
I mean, in the for example, in Ishido Sensei's dojo, he doesn't generally shout orders at you. He asks you to not do things in a very polite and respectful way.
Yamete kudasai. No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he just uses this. Yeah.
Not yame.
No. Not unless it's very strict. Not unless it has to be done very suddenly. But even so, you probably understand when somebody shouts at you, "Yamera!" But you don't necessarily have to know how to say it yourself.
That's true. Honestly.
Yeah. Okay, let's do today's subject, guys. Let me just find it. Where were we? Ah, here we are. So this kind of brings us on to this very subject, actually. So today, I would like us to start looking at the plain negative form. This isn't to, excuse me a second, this isn't to allow us to speak casual Japanese. It allows us to make negative requests like, please don't eat this, or please don't shoot me, or please don't run quickly. Okay, so we use the plain negative form primarily to make negative requests. Okay, let me start with the easy ones first. Let me just move this window over slightly. Let's start with group 2. Group 2 is easy. We remove the ru, or the mass, it doesn't matter, and we add nai. Simple as this. So taberu becomes tabenai. Really simple. Miru, to look, becomes minai. Kiru, to wear, becomes kinai. Really, really simple. Group 3 are pretty simple, but there's only 2 verbs anyway. Suru, which is shimasu, to do, becomes shinai. And kuru, to come, becomes konai rather than kinai. So it becomes konai. We just have to remember this, I'm afraid. Okay, it's group 1 where there are problems, of course, as usual. So I'd like us to familiarize ourselves as we're learning Japanese with the hiragana chart, the alphabet. Okay, so this is why I'm going to constantly refer to this. So the plain form, the infinitive, is always represented with syllables that finish with u, as we know. Ao, kaku, osu, matsu, shinu, yobu, yomu, etc. When we turn them into the mass form, this u sound becomes e, and we make mass at the end. So ao becomes aimasu, kaku becomes kakimasu, osu, oshimasu, etc. When we make the plain negative form, we make an additional jump to the top to make the a sound. I'll leave this first row for a second. So kaku becomes kaka, and then we put nai at the end. So it becomes kakanai, kakanai. Oyogu becomes oyoganai. Okay, so any final syllable we change to the a sound. Osu becomes osanai. Matsu, tatsu, etc. These go to ta, tatanai, matanai. Shinu, shinanai. Yobu, yobanai. Yomu, yomanai. Kairu, kairanai. The only little exception is these verbs which have 2 vowels at the end, like ao, harao, to pay, arao, to wash. These have 2 vowels at the end, the a sound and the u sound. These become wa. So ao becomes awanai. Harao, harawanai. Arao, arawanai. You, to say, the one that Ramon did, becomes iwanai. You okay, Harry? If you're not sure about something, just ask.
Yeah, I'm just having trouble writing stuff down, so I'll ask you afterwards. I don't want to hold everyone up.
Sure, okay, sure. Is there anything that's not clear though, Harry? Because there's time to talk about it.
No, I just don't want to write it down incorrectly and then memorize it wrong later. That's all.
Okay, sure.
Sorry, Andy. Can you repeat the kaku? How that would be?
Yeah.
Again?
So obviously the syllable which changes is the ku. So we go from ku and do a double jump to kakanai. Kakanai. Osanai, matanai, shinanai, yobanai, yomanai, move the window, kairanai. So we just jump up to the top syllable. Any other questions, guys? We're going to do some exercises now, so it will become a little bit more familiar. Okay, so to actually use these in some kind of context, we're going to use it to say, please don't do this. So to do this, we make the plain negative, for example, yomanai, and we put de kudasai at the end. Yomanai de kudasai. So this de is the negative equivalent of the te form, the imperative. Yomanai de kudasai. Give you a second to write that down if you want to make notes.
Is the de a particle, or is that part of the verb?
Yeah, it's kind of particle. It's part of the verb conjugation. There is a particle de, which means at, which I think we've used before. But this is basically the te form of nai. So it's actually part of the verb conjugation. Yeah. Okay. So guys, we're now going to do an exercise using this form. Actually, before we do, let's go back to the slides a second. You can still see this, can't you? Let's practice with these ones first. So I'd like you to say, please don't, and then the verb. So we'll start with Gilles. It's this first one here, ao.
How? Ari wanai de kudasai.
Awanai de kudasai.
Awanai.
Yeah.
Awanai de kudasai.
Good. Yes. Awanai de kudasai. Sophie, kaku. Sophie, you're not muted, but you're so quiet that only the James Webb Space Telescope has got a chance of hearing you.
What the?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay, so many buttons here. Okay, kaku. It's kakanai de kudasai.
Good. Kakanai de kudasai. Beatrice, please don't swim.
Am I the one who's lost here? Where's the... Sorry, just one moment.
Sure. You can see the slide, can't you, Beatrice?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is oyogu, to swim. And then how do you make this into the please don't swim?
Would that be oyoga?
Good. Oyoga, and then?
Oyoganai de kudasai.
Perfect. Good. Exactly this. Oyoganai de kudasai. Good. John, please don't push me.
Osanai de kudasai.
Good. Yeah. Osanai de kudasai. Nathan, please don't wait.
Machinai de kudasai.
Now jump up two. Go up to the top one here.
Matanai de kudasai.
Exactly. Matanai de kudasai. Roberto, please don't die.
Shina kudasai.
One more time.
Shina.
Good.
Kudasai.
You have to have the nai as well, Robert. So shina nai de kudasai.
Shina nai.
Yeah. Shinanai de kudasai.
Shinanai de kudasai.
Good. Yes. Shinanai de kudasai. Yari, yobu, to call.
Yobanai de kudasai.
Excellent. Yobanai de kudasai. And Tatsi, yomu, to read.
Yomanai de kudasai.
Excellent. And Tuche, to return.
Kairanai de kudasai.
Excellent. Kairanai de kudasai. And Ramon, I'll give you an extra one. Let's do you to say.
Iwanai de kudasai.
Perfect. Iwanai de kudasai. And Harry.
So, Andy, please, one question.
Sure.
If I understand, when we use at the affirmative present, for example, tabete kudasai.
Yes.
The te final T is changing in de when we use the negative form. Tabet.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Is the, okay.
Exactly this. It's just the opposite of something te kudasai.
Okay.
We have to do all this kind of transformation to turn it, instead of making the te form from the verb, we just make the plain negative form first, and then we
so
add
de. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. And Harry, how do you say please don't go?
Ikanai de kudasai.
Yeah, good. Ikanai de kudasai. Good. Okay, guys, we're going to practice this now, and we are going to make this difficult because we're going to use possibly some vocabulary that you don't know. So some of you might know this vocabulary and some of you won't. But this is how I'm going to teach vocabulary. I'm not going to go through lists of new words and read them to you and you write them down. We're going to put them into a sentence. And if you know the vocabulary, good. Other people will hear you and will learn from you. And if you don't know the vocabulary, I might ask one of you, or I'll tell you what the vocabulary is, and then we'll use it in a sentence. Okay, this is how we're going to expand. Okay, let us go onto the shared screen, but I'll make it a little bit easy by writing all of the text down.
Andy, just a quick one.
Sure.
So is matanai de kudasai kind of a useful phrase? If you're saying go on ahead without me.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Matanai de kudasai. Yeah. Okay. Huh? Sorry, not this one. I thought I had some exercises somewhere. Just a second. Okay. Okay, Gilles, please don't go to the party this evening.
Atini. Evening. I don't remember evening.
So this is, who did I tell earlier? Was it Tuche? Did I tell you what this evening was, Tuche?
I think you said it. Yeah.
Konya.
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 Yeah.
Konya.
Exactly. Konya.
Konya. Patini.
Patini.
Whoa. I'm a bit lost.
So it's just this that you don't need. Don't go. So iku is exactly the verb.
Yeah. Yes.
And then what do we do with this iku?
We have to put in past in negative form.
Yep, exactly.
Relational negative form, so it's ikuna kata.
No. It's please don't go. So this is ikanai.
Ikanai
de kudasai.
Ah, ikanade kudasai.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ikanai. Just this.
Okay. So it's
okay. One more time, please, Shiv.
So, konya party ni ikanai de kudasai.
Perfect. Konya party ni ikanai de kudasai. Good. Sophie, how about please don't eat that sashimi now.
Ima sashimi.
Tabenai de kudasai.
Can you say the whole sentence, please, Sophie?
Okay. Ima.
Yep.
Sashimi o.
Sashimi o.
Tabenai de kudasai.
Tabenai de kudasai. And how do you specify that sashimi?
Okay, that kono sashimi.
That means this sashimi. How about that sashimi?
Sono sashimi.
Exactly. So, ima sono sashimi. And then what particle do we need here?
O.
Oh, good. Ima sono sashimi o tabenai de kudasai. Good. Beatrice, let's do. Please don't wear that kilt on New Year's Eve.
Kilt is just kilt.
I think it is, yeah, almost certainly.
And where to wear?
So Beatrice, you actually know this already. It's just that you don't know that you know it. So what is the word for? Sorry.
Kiru.
Kiru, yeah. And how would you know this already?
It's the same as to cut.
Oh no, that's a different verb. So what's the word for a traditional Japanese piece of clothing?
Ah, kimono.
Kimono. So kimono is ki, which comes from kiru, to wear, plus mono, which means thing. So it just means something which is worn. Kimono. Yeah.
All right. So let's make the difficult first. So it's kimas, then it will be kinatai.
No, not kinatai, but just kinai.
Kinai.
Kinai, yeah.
Is that because this kiru is of group 2?
It is group 2, yes, correct. Okay. Yeah.
But it's a kilt. It comes to the legs, so it should be haku.
Yeah, we'll do that another time.
So kilt, kilt o.
Good.
Kinai de kudasai.
Good. Okay.
And then it's New Year's Eve.
Yeah. So we should, for time references, guys, I would get that if you say like next week or last year or tomorrow or New Year's Eve, I would put all these time references at the beginning of the sentence so you can get them out of the way, get them finished. And what you've done is you've created the right mindset for the person who's listening to the sentence. So if you start a sentence with last year, the person who's listening knows that this sentence that's coming next is going to be in the past tense. So you can create the right scenario for the sentence right at the beginning by saying when it's going to happen. So New Year's Eve is
in the beginning, yes.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry about the total blank what you say in Japanese on New Year's Eve.
It says Oshogatsu, I think, is New Year's Eve. I've never been to Japan on New Year's Eve, so I don't know what the actual word is. I think it's Oshogatsu. Or it might be another word for it. I don't remember. And then please don't wear that kilt.
Sono kiruto.
Good. Yes. Sono
So,
kiruto.
oshogatsu sono kiruto o kinaide kudasai.
Perfect. Good. Yes. Oshogatsu sono kiruto o kinaide kudasai. Excellent. Good. John.
But what's the eve there? Eve-san.
So this is the night of the 31st. This is the 31st of December.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Now I understand. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. John.
Just real quick, I googled and
thank you.
New Year's Eve is Omisoka.
Omisoka, really? Huh.
Yeah, with like a long O at the start.
Omisoka.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and also more
Oshogatsu
specific
is New Year's Day, I think.
Yes,
yeah.
The first 3 days. It's on the dictionary. It's written this.
Oshogatsu, isn't it?
Oshogatsu.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Omisoka. Sono kiruto o kinaide kudasai. Good.
Omisoka. Omisoka.
John, how would you say please don't pay this bill, it is expensive. Let's do
Misoka.
Because it is expensive.
New Year's
bill
is so you've got a choice, guys, for this. If you forget completely what bill is, you can say biru. Yeah. The proper Japanese word is kaikei or kanjo.
Kanjo.
Okay. So sono kaikei.
This bill, actually, not that bill.
Oh, sorry, kono kaikei. And is pay transitive verb? So I say o.
It is, yeah.
So kono kaikei o harawanaide kudasai. Kara expensive is takai desu.
Good. Okay. So, guys, if you remember back to lesson 1, the general Japanese sentence form is that you put the topic at the beginning, and sometimes we put the time reference as well. Then we have lots of other things which can go in any order: subject, o'clock, location, etc. All these details, and then we put the verb at the end usually. And actually, something te kudasai or shinaide kudasai is also a verb. Kudasau, or sorry, kudasaru rather, is actually a verb. So this part harawanaide kudasai. In a standard sentence, we should put this on at the end. What I've done here on your sentence, John, I've made a comma and just said takai desu. Oh, you can actually say takai desu kara because it is expensive. But you could actually put it perhaps more towards the beginning of the sentence. So we want to really put the bill as the object as close to the verb as possible, if we can. If we remember to. It's not vital, but it's better to put the object next to the verb. But so in that case, then how would we restructure this sentence?
Kono kaite takai desu. Hawaranaide kudasai.
Okay. Kono kaike. So we should mark the bill.
Or ga.
Good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Kono kaike. So it could be wa or ga. Takai desu kara. So kara means because. And then we don't even need an object marker. We can just say, please don't pay it. So we can lose this. Kono kaike ga takai desu kara. So this means because this bill is expensive, please don't pay it. Yeah. Any questions, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, Tati?
Can we just say 高いからこの会計を払わないでください?
We can. So if we're expressing e adjectives as a reason, then you can just say the e adjective, like for example, atsui kara or takai kara. This isn't quite as formal as saying atsui desu kara. So if you want to be supremo polite, then we use the desu kara. If you want to make it a little bit more casual, then you can drop the des. Yeah. Cool. Any other questions, guys? Good. Nathan. Let's just clear some of this up. Let's see. Okay. Because it is dangerous, please don't swim here. Okay.
危ないですから.
Excellent.
It's oyogu, isn't it?
It is good, yeah. Oyogu.
ここで泳がない.
Sorry, go ahead.
泳がないでください.
How did you guess that? 泳がないで.
Or ここに泳がないでください.
Okay, good. So so again, we've got a choice here. We can either say here is dangerous, so please don't swim, or we can say because it's dangerous, please don't swim here. We can do this either way. Let's do the easiest way. So we can put koko, and then we're doing something there rather than going there. So not koko ni, but koko de. Koko de, exactly. Yeah. 危ないですから、ここで泳がないでください. And then, as I said, we can. So Nathan, if we wanted to say here is because here is dangerous, please don't swim. How would we restructure this sentence?
ここが危ないですから
Excellent, yes.
泳がないでください.
危ないですから泳がないでください. Excellent. Very good. Thank you. Ali. We've swam, we've gone. So how about because it's late? Please don't wait for me.
Okay.
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 Drugs are bad, okay?
So to wait is matsu.
Good, matsu.
So it would be machanai.
Not machanai, but
no,
Actually, I missed something. I missed something vital out in my.
Yeah, that's why I can't do it.
Yeah, so let me just share the screen with you guys. Not this one, but guys, you see this slide, which has got this is the te conjugation. You need to print this out and attach it to the front of your head with the text facing towards you for 1 week. So this is the hardest part of Japanese grammar. Okay, it's the most difficult thing. So if you can attach this somewhere on your fridge or on your partner's head or somewhere where it's visible a lot of the time, then this will be your passport to success. But what's really important though is to have this hiragana chart somewhere in your notes, because we will constantly be using this. We'll always be using the hiragana chart. Okay. So going back to the sniffle.
So it's matanai.
Matanai, good.
Yeah. Osoi desu kara.
Very good.
Mata naide kudasai.
Very good. Yeah. This sentence says exactly what you want to say. You don't need to make this here, because by saying kudasai, this means for me. You're asking a request. Please don't wait for me, by saying kudasai. But if you really want to be specific, then how could you put this for me in the sentence? If I give you a clue, Ali, matsu is a transitive verb.
So, osoi desu kara, watashi o
Good.
mata naide kudasai.
Excellent. Yes, exactly. Watashi o mata naide kudasai. Good. Any questions, guys? Cool. Okay. Roberto, ciao.
Ciao. C'è pure Margherita, eccola.
Ah, ciao Margherita.
Trasforma, ecco.
No,
Translator. Okay. I can do it in Italian, Robert, but you might need somebody to translate it from my Italian to real Italian. But let's do.
Okay, it's okay. Ega des. Ega dai jobu des.
Let's go. Hey, please don't play football on Saturday. Because it is my it is my birthday.
Okay.
Tuce, can you say this in Italian, please?
Yeah.
Can you translate this into Italian just so Robert has it completely?
Okay, let's try.
Per favore non giocare questo sabato perché è il mio compleanno.
Oggi è tuo compleanno?
No, c'è scritto così.
Scusami, non ho visto.
Ah.
You can't see it?
Allora,
sorry, I didn't please don't play football on Saturday because it's my birthday.
Yeah.
Joby desk kara.
Shi no tanjoubi desu kara. Good.
Sokka.
Good. Sokka.
Sokka o.
Oh.
Sarebbe Asobi giocare. Plays.
So Margherita.
Asobu.
Margherita, can you explain this, because it was a little bit difficult to explain? Asobu does Asobu does mean play, but it really means socialize.
Yes.
And
allora, giocare,
to play football and chess and
tennis.
Things like this. Tennis, thank you. Then we should use suru.
Sudanai.
No. Gruppo 3.
Gruppo 3 su Shinai.
Shinai, good. Shinai?
Sì, Shinai, non lo so. Negativo. Boh.
And after this, Robert, Shinai. È di questo?
Yes. Shinai, non mi ricordo più dove sono arrivato, però Shinai, Kudasai.
Kudasai, ok.
Sorry, mi ero perso.
No.
One moment, Shinai.
It's okay. And then for Roberto?
Yes.
Come. on Saturday.
Saturday che è sabato è yes, che è Nichi hobby, sabato che è non ricordo.
So Saturday is doyobi.
Doyobi. Doyobi ni.
Good, okay. Dove?
Doyobi ni what no tanjobi desk.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, actually, so in fact, we would say doyobi wa.
Doyobi wa.
はい。私の誕生日ですから。So this is a kind of そっかをしないでください。So this reason here, we can put in a separate subclause and mark it as the topic. As for Saturday, it is my birthday.
Okay.
So please don't play football. Yeah. Good. Okay. Any questions, guys?
Yes. Understand. Okay.
Excellent. Okay.
A small question, not really
Sure.
long answer. Did you already explain why this ha wa is exchanging sometimes ha, sometimes ba, sometimes wa?
Sure. So let me just stop sharing a second. Okay, so if we are making a sound, wa, for example, watashi, for me, then we use this sound, wa. But if we are marking a word as a topic, we pronounce it as wa, but we write it as ha, which is confusing, I realize. Similarly, if we are marking an object in a sentence, we pronounce it as o, but we write it using this wo. In fact, this is the only use for this character, is as an object marker. There are no other places that we use wo in Japanese except to mark an object. So when we write this in Romaji, when we write this in Romaji, excuse me a second. The Romaji that we use these days, we use something called the Hepburn system, which is a standardized way of writing Romaji. And I think I'm right in thinking that wa is written as wa and o is written as o. But because I want you guys to not mix up the characters, sometimes I write this as ha and sometimes I write this as wo. And it's purely whether I remember which one I'm doing. So you guys will just have to remember that if it's a topic marker, it's pronounced wa, but written ha. And if it's an object marker, it's pronounced o, but it's written wo. Yeah. So the simple answer, Tatsi, is that I am inconsistent, is the reason why I sometimes write wa and sometimes write it as ha. Don't rely on me to get it right, please.
You're not the only inconsistent one. I mean, I'm in this exchangeable ha and wa all the time in Duolingo as well. I just don't understand what's the reason to switch from wa to ha.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm not always inconsistent.
Thank you.
Okay. Where were we? No, but Yadi. Let's give you a suitably challenging one, Yadi.
The last example, is it okay also put the doyobi between kara and sokka?
Yeah, we can. So we could say, for example, watashi no tanjoubi desu kara doyobi. Yeah. Now in this case, doyobi, we would say ni.
Ni.
Yeah. Yeah. Sokka o shinai de kudasai. Oh, Tatsi, I should also warn you that when I'm making double vowels, sometimes I write it like this, and sometimes I write it like this. So again, you just have to keep an eye out for it. In Hepburn system, it should be a hyphen. Yeah. Okay. Well, so Yadi. Because it is dangerous. Please do not fight in the dojo. Yeah, like this.
Okay. 危ないですから。
Yep.
Fight. That's a verb what I don't have.
Okay, so this is a new word. Tatakao.
Tatakao.
Yeah.
戦わないでください。
Okay, but remember in the dojo.
道場に。
Not dojo ni, but dojo.
道場で。
De. Yes.
戦わな。You
nearly did the obligative then.
戦わないでください。
Perfect. Kudasai. Excellent. Tatakao wa nai de kudasai. Good. Tatsi.
Oh, Andy, just
yeah,
quick.
Go ahead.
Is that fight physical fight or argue? Can you use it for both or?
It's usually used for a physical fight. A verbal fight is kenka suru. It's a suru verb to disagree. Kenka suru. Okay. Because it is noisy, please don't play guitar at night.
うるさいから。
うるさいから。
夜にギターを。What was play again?
So for stringed instruments, the Japanese word for pluck is the same as the Japanese word for pull, which is hiku. Hiku.
弾かないでください。
Good. Yeah. ギターを弾かないでください. Yes. So let's have a quick tour of Japanese instrument playing verbs. So this is for stringed instruments, and it means pluck. And fuku is for wind instruments. This obviously means blow. And for percussion, this is utsu. Percussion. This is hit. And utao is sing.
Two difficult words.
Yeah.
Utsu is also shoot.
Shoot. Did you say?
Yeah. Yes, it is. I think utsu.
Utsu. Sorry, shoot. Yeah, it depends what you're shooting. If it's a gun, I think that is utsu. If you're shooting an arrow, this is
of course, different.
haneru,
Yeah.
haneru, or tobasu. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But
hiku is also a very strange word because there is I think about 10 or 20 different kanji for the hiku.
Yeah, I mean, usually
also the verb has very, very many meaning.
Sure. Usually hiku means pull, so this would be the opposite of push. I didn't know there were so many other words though. Is that true?
Yeah, I think most in Japanese language. Hiku.
Hiku? You're not getting confused with iku?
No, hiku.
Let's have a look.
Because there is many, many different kanji and the ku end.
Yeah. Yeah, there is quite a lot, isn't there?
Yeah.
To play, to move back, to run over with the vehicle, to draw attention, to saw, to grind. Well, actually, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
6. Okay. Yeah.
Or 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Yeah. Harry.
If you hiku a guitar or a harp, do you hiku a violin, or is there a different verb for that?
It's also hiku. So it's as it means kind of pluck rather than pull. you can use it for any stringed instrument. Yeah. And I think for I think the verb for a recorder is murder. That's the verb for anything where you use a recorder. It's a joke, guys. Because nobody's ever played something nice on a recorder. That's fine.
The shakuhachi in this lesson, maybe.
Okay, right. Where were we? Ramon. Because he is stupid, please don't talk to him. This is what most people say about me.
Baka desu kara? Is it right? Baka?
Yeah, very good. Very good. Very important word.
Kare ni.
Yep.
Kare ni anasanaide kudasai.
Very good. Anasanaide kudasai. Good. Exactly. Baka desu kara? Kare ni hanasanaide kudasai. So on this one, Ramon, kare ni is fine. You can talk at him, towards him. You can also use talk with him. So this would be kare to.
Ishoni?
You can use this ishoni, but it's kind of redundant if you use kare.
It's kind of
redundant.
Okay.
It's not necessary.
Kareto. Yes, kareto.
Yeah.
Okay.
But ni is also fine. Ni is also fine as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And baka, is it not too rude?
It's there isn't really a soft version of it. It's really you can use aho, which means idiot.
Aho. Okay. Aho.
I mean, there are.
Prime Minister has had a name, Esko Aho. It is really funny in Japanese. Esko Aho.
They sometimes use some animals to. So baka actually means uma and chika. So this is a horse. Oops, excuse me. This is a horse and a deer. And I think it means that person is so stupid they cannot tell the difference between a horse and a deer. But they also use things like tako, which means octopus. So this means somebody who's a bit stupid and a bit clumsy. And ika, which means squid. And this also means somebody who's a bit naive. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. A lot of new vocabulary.
Yeah, really, really important ones, right? Next week we're going to learn how to say go and fuck yourself. Okay, Harry. Because my arms are painful, please don't strike strongly. How's this? So I surrender. We can do this. We can do this. Harry, let's do it bit by bit. So let's start off with the reasoning first. So
what's arms? I can't remember what arms.
To be honest, you can use te for hands. If you want to be specific, you can use ude to mean arms, but te means both arms and hands. And just as we're doing a bit of vocabulary, ashi means both feet and legs. Okay.
Owie? No, that's blue, isn't it?
Oh, for hurt, for pain.
Yeah.
It's itai.
Itai
means painful.
Watashi no te ga
good.
Itai desu kara.
Very good. Then we need the adverb next.
Strongly, strong. Strong.
So
Can't remember what strong is.
that's okay. So the adjective is tsuyoi. But we
Suyoku.
very good.
Suyoku. I don't know the hit either.
Just here.
Oh, hit. Sorry. Utanaide kudasai.
Very good. See, not that difficult at all. Watashi no te ga itai desu kara. So actually, on this, if you're training with somebody, for example, you can say watashi no te, but if you just say te, it's clear that it's talking about yours. Te ga itai desu kara, tsuyoku utanaide kudasai. Can you say it one more time, please?
Te ga itai desu kara, tsuyoku utanaide kudasai.
Very good. Okay, excellent. And then Tuche. Let's give you a suitably challenging one. Because it is early, please don't get up yet. Add a new word, exciting new word to this.
Early. I don't remember early also.
Okay. So for early and also fast, it's the same word.
Hayai.
Hayai, yes, good.
Hayai. Hayai desu kara.
Good.
Matanaide kudasai.
So that's wait. To get up, like to get out of bed, for example, is okiru. This is a group 2 verb, okiru.
Okinaide kudasai.
Okinaide kudasai.
Hayai desu kara okinaide kudasai.
Exactly, good. Now, if you want to say yet, for example.
Mada.
Mada, really good. And we can put this, mada is basically an adverb. And we can put it anywhere, really. You could say mada hayai desu kara, mada okinaide kudasai. Or you can even put this at the beginning of the sentence and say, yeah, exactly, mada hayai desu kara. It's because it's still early. It's still early, not it's don't get up yet. By saying mada hayai desu kara, it means it is still early.
Okay.
Get up, yeah.
I think you've put H instead of M at the beginning.
Oops, sorry. So. That means because I'm naked, hada. Because I'm naked, please don't get up. Good, excellent. Okay, now guys, I'm conscious that what the kind of mistake I made with the senior class is they didn't have enough chances to just speak Japanese sentences. So I'm going to ask you to repeat these sentences that we've got up here, one by one. We'll do it all together. Just have a practice of reading and speaking. So let's look at this first one first. Because it is dangerous, please don't swim here. Abunai desu kara, koko de oyoganaide kudasai. Hai, dozo. Okay, can you unmute yourselves, please, guys? I want to hear you as well. Okay, so one more time. Abunai desu kara, koko de oyoganaide kudasai. Dozo.
Abunai desu
kara,
difficult to pronounce correctly when you can't hear yourself. Okay, because it's late, please don't wait for me. Osoi desu kara, watashi o matanaide kudasai.
Osoi desu kara,
watashi o matanaide kudasai.
Cool. And one more time.
Osoi desu kara,
matanaide kudasai.
Good. Okay. Because it's noisy, please don't play guitar at night. Urusai kara or urusai desu kara. Let's make this at one level of politeness. Urusai desu kara, yoru ni guitar o hikanaide kudasai.
Urusai desu kara,
hikanaide kudasai.
Okay, good. And one more time. どうぞ。
Kurusai.
Kurusai desu kara.
Koruni.
Okay, because my arms are painful, please don't strike strongly. 手が痛いですから強く打たないでください。はい、どうぞ。
手が痛いですからよく打たないでください。
Okay, because this is early, please don't get up yet. まだ早いですから起きないでください。
まだ早いですから起きないでください。
起きないでください。
はい、もう一度お願いします。どうぞ。
まだ早いですから起きないでください。
Okay, good. And now, can you mute yourselves, please? And we'll do this one more time, one by one. 危ないですから、ここで泳がないでください。どうぞ。ここが危ないですから泳がないでください。遅いですから私を待たないでください。うるさいですから夜にギターを弾かないでください。手が痛いですから強く打たないでください。And まだ早いですから起きないでください。Very good. I think we've done all of today's things. Let me just clear something up with you, though, guys. Give me a second. What shall I share? Stop sharing. Yeah. So what I wanted to just explain also is that we can use these plain infinitives like iku, hanasu, or yogu, and we can use these plain negatives in the same way that we use the mass form. If you're talking to friends or family, I mean, I guess none of you have any Japanese family, do you? No. If you're talking to Japanese friends or people who are close to you, or people who are on the same level in a company, you can use the plain form of iku, I will go. Ikanai, I won't go. You can use them in the place of mass, so you can just use them in conversation. But as I said before, in order to not make any faux pas, better to use the polite form as much as you can. We can do another 20 minutes or so of general practice if you'd like to, but does anybody have any questions before we finish the formal part of the lesson?
Andy, we had an example earlier on where we said, like, don't pay the bill because it's expensive. How do you say too expensive?
Okay, good. Right, this will actually be part of a formal lesson. See you later, Harry. This will be part of a formal lesson in a few weeks' time, actually quite a few weeks' time. But let's look at it now. So too expensive, or you're laughing too much. Excuse me, laughing too much. So you can use too much in both adjectives and verbs. And this depends upon a new verb called sugiru, which means to exceed or go to excess. Japanese is kind of convenient because we can cut verbs up and stick them together, like we've stolen a Ford Capri and a Vauxhall Chevette and welded them together to create a brand new car called a Vauxhall, for example. We can do this with verbs as well to a certain degree. So all verbs they consist of a stem and a suffix. And the stem is actually the verb itself. This is the element of the verb. And the suffix is what changes the usage of the verb. So for example, iku is the infinitive, but actually the stem is iki, like ikimasu. And taberu is the infinitive to eat, but the stem is tabe, as in tabemasu. And suru is the infinitive of to do, but the stem is is shi, as in shimasu. Then everything else that comes after it will change the way the verb is used. It's changing the usage or the inflection of the verb. Now, with the stem, with the mas stem, we can add other bits to it. So, for example, the one that you've asked, John, so we'll do verbs first and then we'll do adjectives. Is if you say, I ate too much, I have eaten too much, I would use tabe, like in tabemasu, and then I just put sugiru after it. Sugiru. And because if I'm going to speak politely, I would say sugimasu. And then if I'm putting it in the past tense, of course, I change it to sugimashita. This means I have eaten too much. Really, really easy, I think. Would you agree? A little bit easy.
Sugirimashou.
One more time.
Tabe sugirimashou.
Well, exactly, yeah. Let's eat too much, shall we? As it's lockdown, let's drink too much. Let's eat too much. Tabusugi Masho. Yeah.
Then we need the negative. Let's not drink too much.
I'm not sure I want to do this. Nomi sugi nayo. This makes it really complicated sentence, so best not to have that one. But it's nomi sugi nayo ni shimasho. See, it's really long and boring. So we should just have nomi sugi masho. That's the best advice I can provide. Yeah. We can do this kind of chopping and cutting of verbs in other ways as well. So, for example, to say to finish eating, so taberu means to eat, and then to finish or to end rather than to finish. So owaru is the intransitive verb, means to end. I know this in French because you see it at the end of French films. It's fin. Oui. Yeah. And then we can do the same thing with to finish eating. We can say tabe owarimashita. I finished eating. Really, really easy. Just cut up one verb, stick another one on it. But let's return back to excess. So for E adjectives, it's again as simple as the verbs. We say atsui, remove the E because that's the suffix, and put sugimasu, it's too hot. So John, to come back to your question, then too expensive would be?
So it's takasugimasu.
Exactly, takasugimasu. So I know that too expensive sounds like you're making an adjective statement. It does in English, for example. You say this is too expensive. But in Japanese, something which is too much is expressed in the verb. It means it's going up is too much. If you say takasugimasu, yeah, it exceeds price, exceeds cost. Yeah. So if you wanted to say it was too cheap, it was too cheap, Nathan, how would you say it was too cheap?
What was cheap?
Yasui.
Yasu sugimashita.
Exactly. So even the past or even the negative is reflected by the verb at the end. Even with adjectives, we don't say atsu kuna sugimashita. This doesn't make any sense in Japanese. We would say, for example, the one you did, yasu sugimasen deshita. It wasn't too cheap. Yeah. Sorry, yasu sugimashita, you said, wasn't it?
Now I have a question.
Sure.
Formerly we made takai desu kara. If we say too much, then we don't use this anymore, but we use must.
Correct. So if we wanted to say, for example, let's just move this back up again. Just a second. If I want to say it is too expensive, sorry, because it is too expensive, please don't pay this bill. And you start off with taka sugimasu, and then that's the too expensive bit finished. There's no des, but we still have to use because. Kara. Kara? Harawanare kudasai. Kudasai. Yeah. So anytime we're saying too much of something, it's going to become a verb, basically. So let's see. Ali, how did you do this one? Because my car was too expensive, I did not go to Japan.
Watashi no kuruma ga.
You don't need watashi no. That's
okay.
That's week one.
Well, because we did it for the don't wait for me, so I thought maybe we do want to stress that it's my car, but
yeah,
okay,
sure.
No worries. Yeah. Kuruma ga takasugimasu kara.
So I'd like to say it was too expensive.
Takasugimashita kara Nihon ni ikimasen deshita.
Very good. Masen deshita. Perfect. Kuruma ga takasugimashita kara Nihon ni ikimasen deshita. So good, so good. Roberto, I'll try to think of one very specific for you. Because I drank too much delicious wine, I did not go to Ishido Sensei's seminar. Prego.
Drank nomi sugima shita kara.
What, Roberto? What did you drink too much of? Nani o nomi sugimashita?
Oishi wine.
Very good. Oishi wine. In particular.
Quindi oishi wine ga?
No. Wa ga is you. Remember, this has an invisible watashi wa at the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah. So oishi wine.
Nomi sugimashita kara. Ishido Sensei seminar ni.
Yep.
Ikimasen deshita.
Very good. Perfecto. Excellent. Is that okay, John? Does that answer that question? Good.
Yes, that's very good.
Good. Okay.
Can I ask in terms of pronunciation? I know we're not focusing on that, but I'm just trying to sort of order it in my head. When you have complicated words like that, I'm kind of struggling a bit to know where to put the sort of stress on. So, for example, with the kuruma ga takasugimashita or takasugimashita, and then kara. How do you like what do you say quicker, and what do you say? I know we're not going quick. That's not what I mean. I don't want to go quick, but I just want to understand how the language would flow.
I would say the general rule is that you should make your Japanese sound monotonous. So, for example, if I was saying this sentence here, if I was saying this casually, like naturally, it would sound like this. Oishii wain o nomisugimashita kara Ishiro sensei no seminar ni ikimasen deshita. It's pretty flat, really, isn't it? There's a little bit of undulation, but generally it's oishii wain o nomisugimashita kara Ishiro sensei no koushukai ni ikimasen deshita. It's fairly flat compared to because I drank too much delicious wine, I did not go to Ishido Sensei's seminar. Because basically in English, the emphasis we give changes the meaning of the sentence. So I think I did this with you guys a few weeks ago. If you take, for example, I'm going to have to do this on a PowerPoint, just a second. Let's do it here. Yeah, come on, stop. Right, let's put it right at the bottom. Can you see this slide, guys? Yeah. For example, no. Hang on a second. There's a really good example sentence. Let's see, John. Do you remember, or John or Nathan? Do you remember how there's an example sentence that used to be taught in English that if you change certain words into italics and give them stress, it changes the meaning of the sentence? Do you remember? Can you give me an example sentence?
The only one I can think of is I didn't kill him.
I didn't kill. Oh, great, thank you.
Yeah,
Excellent, thanks. Yeah. So, for example, if you in written English, if you make the I into italics to give it stress, then this means I didn't kill him. So this means somebody killed him. It wasn't me. If you change didn't, I didn't kill him means I did something to him. Is that right, Nathan? No. This just means I did not kill him. I did not kill him. And then if I change kill into italics, it means I did something to him, but I didn't kill him. I didn't kill him. Okay. And then finally, if I change that to italics, means I didn't kill him. Means I didn't kill him, but I killed somebody else. So, but in Japanese, you can't you can't speak or write in italics, and stressing it doesn't necessarily make that sort of change to the sentence. So usually we use particles and positioning and sometimes timing in the sentence to give stress to certain things. So let's take this one, for example. I didn't kill him. If you just said this flat, this would be watashi ga kare o koroshimasen deshita. Okay. But if you want to say I didn't kill him, it would be watashi wa kare o, and then this long word. Okay. And then if you want to say I didn't kill him. It wasn't him I killed. This has to be, we now have to completely change the sentence. You have to say, excuse me, kare ga, sorry, kare wa watashi ni korosaremasen deshita, and put it into the passive voice. I didn't kill him. Watashi ga kare o koroshita koto shite nai desu. See, you almost have to change the sentence to change the emphasis. And then I didn't kill him would be, this would be same, almost the same as this actually. Yeah. So, yeah, this is, you almost have to rearrange the words or change the particles to change the meaning of the sentence to give stress. But
that sounds like he didn't kill me.
This one here, this is the passive voice. So we will do this in week 22-ish. This means he wasn't killed by me. So it's just changing the topic or the subject of the sentence.
Hi.
Yeah.
So it's okay to use wa also, not karega, watashi.
Yeah, if you're stressing that it's him that wasn't killed by you, then you can use karewa. Yeah.
Right.
Now, to Ali, to answer your question a little bit more relevantly, when I'm reading Japanese to you guys, what I'm actually stressing is pairs of words. I'll group together a verb, an adjective, or a noun, and then I'll group it with the particle that comes afterwards, because I want you to get used to this idea that 95% of the time, Japanese language is grammatical term, particle, grammatical term, particle, and it's just this. So, for example, look at this one here. Watashi ga kare o koroshimasen deshita. The verb, of course, doesn't have a particle because the verb has conjugation instead of particles. But I always try and pair these up. Kare ga watashi o saifu o nusubarimashita. Something, whatever it is. Yeah. But in terms of flow, in terms of intonation, there is a rising and falling intonation which is used in Japanese to distinguish between homophones. So, for example, the word for bridge and the word for chopsticks are both hashi. For a bridge, it's hashi, and for chopsticks, it's hashi. But you don't have to worry about it, because there are, of course, thousands of Japanese words. It's not necessary at the moment to worry about remembering the rising or flat or declining intonation for every single word. You would be understood by context. So I would recommend making your sentences reasonably monotonous, just flat, and then you won't add any additional unwanted emphasis, which might change the meaning, might slightly alter the emphasis of your sentence. Yeah. So let me ask you all to, in the last few minutes, let me ask you all to do a little example to practice this. Gilles, I want to meet tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
To meet, it's taberu.
Ow.
To meet? To meet us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not the food.
Yeah, okay. Because it's okay. How it's so it's negative form.
Oh no. I do want to meet tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, I would like to meet tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
Whoa. Sorry, I'm a bit lost.
That's okay. So tomorrow is
No, it's ashta.
Ashta, and then 9 o'clock.
It's clock.
Let's do it together. Ichi, ni, san, shi, go, rok, shich, hach, ku, and then o'clock is ji.
Kuji.
Fuji. And then we need time particle, time marker, ni.
Yeah.
So it's kuji ni.
Kuji ni.
Yeah.
Kuji ni. Okay. So sentence was, I do want to meet at 9 o'clock.
Oui.
Okay, so it's kuji ni. Wow.
So what is I will meet? How do you make the mass form of al? I will meet.
Mass form, it's aimas.
Aimas, good. And then cut off the mass,
right.
Put tai.
Right. Aitai.
Aitai, and then it's an adjective, so you have to finish with
Aitai de.
Just aitai des. I am
Right.
aitai des.
Oh,
it's okay.
Aitai des.
Yeah, exactly. Just this.
Okay.
Ashita kuji ni aitai des.
So, ashita kuji ni aitai des.
Yes, good. This is fine. And Shiru, say it 3 times, please, just slowly.
Ashita kuji ni aitai des.
And again.
Ashita kuji ni aitai des.
Good. And one more time.
Ashita kuji ni aitai des.
This is perfect. This is, you don't need any kind of extra intonation or emphasis. This is perfect. Ashita kuji ni aitai des. Okay, yeah, good.
If we want to say to meet you, which is better, anata-ni or kimi-ni?
So you probably know that in Japanese it's very rare to use you. So kimi-ni is really casual. You can use this with friends. Anata is a little bit more. It's a combination of both being a little bit more polite, but it's also a little bit more close to somebody. It kind of means dear.
Intimate.
Yeah, intimate. Yeah. But if you just said to somebody "Ashita aitai desu," then this is enough. You don't need to say "anata to" or "kimi ni." You can just say "Ashita aitai desu."
Yeah, if it's obvious, but if we have to mention,
use their name. Use their name. If you're talking to Tanaka Sensei, say "Ashita Tanaka Sensei to aitai desu." Yeah. There are a few occasions where you have to use you, but they are so rare. I mean, I never use you. I never use anata when I'm in Japan, not in any situation. If I don't know the person's name, I just call them sensei. Yeah. Okay, Sophie.
And you can use senpai if you don't, if he is not sensei.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's the very short way.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if you're in a shop and you want to raise somebody's attention, you call them customer. You say "Okyaku-san sumimasen." You dropped your wallet. Yeah. Sophie, how do you say "Let's wash our hands often"? Let's wash our hands often.
Okay, hands to wash. Otera is the toilet. What?
Good. Good. So if ote arai is the toilet or washroom.
Arai.
Arai.
Is
arai.
arai.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Good.
Arai. And often is zenzen. Or
and that means never.
Never.
This is how you get COVID. Yoku.
Yoku. So we can start with yoku often. Yoku. Yoku. Te o.
Yep.
Arai desu.
No, it's a verb.
I want to wash.
No, let's wash. Let's wash. Let's wash.
Araimashou.
Araimashou. Yoku te o araimashou. Good. So let me. Sophie, can you say it 3 times? Can you bring yourself a bit closer to whichever microphone you've got there? I'm not sure which one is being used.
I don't know.
Oh, I think it's your head mic. It's just not turned up very high. Can you say it 3 times, please?
Yoku te o araimashou.
Good. And once more.
Yoku te o arimashou.
Araimashou.
Araimashou.
And last time.
Yoku te araimashou.
Te o.
Yoku te o araimashou.
Perfect. Good. Ali, let's say our names in Japanese.
Bear with me 1 second. Is say you
is good
transitive? As in,
yes.
would it be namae o? Iimashou.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, iimashou.
Yeah. Namae
o iimashou.
And in Japanese?
What's the particle for language? So Nihongo de namae o iimashou.
Okay, and 3 times, please.
Nihongo de namae o iimashou.
And 2 more times.
Nihongo de namae o iimashou.
Last time.
Nihongo de namae o iimashou.
That's it. Yeah. So when you start to say it, if you repeat it many times, you end up saying it naturally without any kind of artificial pause or intonation or emphasis. And this is how you speak. Yeah.
But that's why I wanted to know, because when we say it slowly and we break it down, we kind of then really, I know that we did some exercise where we repeated some sentences earlier, but again, they're kind of almost slowly again. So I just wanted to see how it would flow when you just say it. Yeah. So good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. So we'll do 4 more. There's 4 of you left. Yari, let's go and eat sushi at noon.
Gogo de.
No, ohiru.
Ohiru, okay. Ohiru. Sushi o ikimashou.
Not sushi o ikimashou, but
tabemashou.
Tabemashou. Good.
Okay.
And Tatsi, let's listen to music.
What was listen again?
Kiku.
Kiku. Ongaku o kikimashou.
Good. Ongaku o kikimashou. And Ramon, let's watch television.
Terebi o mimashou.
Good. Terebi o mimashou. And Roberto, Margarita, one of you?
Yes.
Is he sleeping now, Margarita? Let's speak Japanese together. Let's speak Japanese together.
Nyongo o.
Good. Do you remember together?
Hanashimashou.
Yeah, and do you remember?
Ishoni hanashimashou.
Ishoni hanashimashou. Good. Yeah. Nihongo o ishoni hanashimashou. Excellent. Good. That's used up 2 hours of lockdown time. Well done. Well spent. Any questions, guys, about today? or any day.
Arigato gozaimashita.
Yes, thank you very much.
Arigato gozaimashita.
Arigato gozaimashita.
Okay, thanks guys. See you at the next
See
one.
you. Thank you again. Bye
Thank you very
bye.
much.
Bye da so
Bye-bye.
hikanai yoni. Ciao ciao. Bye.
Thank you. Ciao.
Ciao.